to the 2015 California chapter of the Watkins Award for Scholar Athletes.
No. You more invested in this. I had a son.
All right, before we begin, my name is Reginald Grant. Let's have these gentlemen, these three young men, stand up.
Yay.
Before we begin the process, why don't you say your name, a little information about yourself, and your GPA?
My name is Malik Ridgell. I have a 2.8 GPA.
What school you went?
My name is Chase Moore. I go to Verbandale High School, and I play defensive back, so safety and corner. And I have a 3.6 GPA. I go to Nellen High School. I have a 4.0 GPA. Quarterback and receiver.
What school?
Nellen High School.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's give a little round of applause. For those or anyone that doesn't know who I am, my name is Reginald Grant. And before we even begin this process, why don't we just bow our heads in prayer and do a little prayer just to kind of get us in the right frame of mind.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Anybody want to pray for us? Okay. Go for it.
Lord God, we come today to you with big expectations. We come to you with the opportunity to see you in full display with these young men. We pray that, Father, that when they go forth from here, that they will be shining lights for you and an example for the lost of this world.
Yes, Lord.
We know that we only have one chance sometimes, and we pray that they maximize the moment, that they take full control of their destiny with your leadership and your ability to make things work out. We pray today in your name, in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. So let me kind of give you a little background on the Watkins Award. This is the California version of it. We've been around for 24 years. It is the premier award in the nation for African American male high school scholar athletes. And it's been, come forth, come up, you're welcome. Come on in, find a seat, relax.
Today, I just wanted to stop by. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Chambers with Assemblyman Mike Gibson's office. We have proclamations for the gentleman.
What, you want to say your proclamation?
I can
If
you
you
don't
want to
mind.
do that, why don't you come right here and introduce yourself? And
Hello.
hello! Say, come on, welcome her, come on! These three young men that are doing the right thing.
Amen.
They are, by what they do, leaders. They are the future. They are examples of people that need to be uplifted because they're doing the right thing. We all know how difficult that is. We all know the public perception of African American males. The reality is we have people like this doing the right thing. We just want to say thank you. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michelle Chambers, and I'm the Senior Field Deputy for Assemblyman Mike Gibson. And we thank you for having us today. We got an email about this. You guys are just wonderful. I had to take the time out, even though this isn't our district, but two of you gentlemen attend schools in our district. So I still had to make sure I wanted to stop in. My oldest son is here. We're on a date today. Date my son. You mind if I break our little date and come and do these proclamations? So I will guard the friend in 1 second. On behalf of the California Assembly, we'd like to present a certificate of recognition presented to Malik Ridgell. Am I saying it correctly? Ridgell, Washington Prep High School, in honor of your outstanding academic achievement. It gives me great pleasure to be part of such a joyous occasion when you're honored by the California chapter of the National Alliance of African American Athletes. Best wishes and continued success. And Mr. Chase Moore. You guys can come back. We can take a photo now. Congratulations.
Let's take a picture. Get your cameras out, folks. Take a picture. Photo opportunity. Gentlemen, turn around, face the crowd. Let's practice what we need to be doing. Turn around, face the crowd. Face the crowd. Come on, we haven't done it before. Hold on, Chris. There we go. Now we can get a real picture. Now that picture can go in the paper, be on Facebook, be seen by 15,000 people today.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Again, my name is Michelle Chambers with Assemblyman Mike Gibson's office, and we did living service to you.
All right. So you got a lot of brownie points today. You got some votes you didn't know you were going to get, which is good. We appreciate you coming out and supporting us. And again, we've been around since 1992. The whole purpose of how I got involved with it about 18, 19 years ago, I'm actually on the National Board of Directors. I was chairman of the board, moved from Charlotte, North Carolina to here. And you know some of the names of some of the kids that have won the national thing. You know some of the kids like Mercedes Lewis that are locally, and Chris Lewis that was Arizona Cardinal, and Stanford. We have kids that are graduated from Stanford, Georgia Tech, and Duke, and all that kind of good stuff. But the whole process is we want to use athletes as a voice to say it is okay to be a schoolboy. It is okay to be extremely successful. It is okay to take care of your business so you have options in life. And people look up to athletes. They have people that look up to them and they don't even know it. They don't even understand it. And we just, as part of the Nationalized African Athletes, want to acknowledge them, what they've done, to uplift them, to be a resource for them, to also celebrate everybody else in the room. You are part of their village. You are their coaches and their parents and their brothers and their family that have made an impact on their lives to help them to make the right choices and to do the right thing more over and over again, even though it is difficult, it is hard, it is challenging as a process. So let's give the parents and the families a round of applause. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the gentleman that passed away last week that was a friend of mine. He was 70-something years old, but he was an exceptional man. He did some Leon Davis. They have their service for him this morning. Home United Methodist Church is about 2,500 members, and you couldn't even get a parking spot there. And he had raised, millions of dollars for that particular institution and done a whole bunch of things. But he's one of those people that was a role model for me. And we just want to charge you. Remember, you have to help somebody else. Okay? So just want to put that tidbit of information in your brain. Everybody in here, expects you to help somebody else. We don't expect you to stop doing what you're doing and just, right? You still got to take care of your business. But, sometime down the road, just reach out and touch somebody. All right? Thank you so very much for that. Okay? And we're putting that on you. That's the part of what, Coach Rhodes said, expectations. Okay? And nobody's expectations should be higher than your own. But we just want to let you know that we as your family, and we are all in here family now. Okay? We as your family just expect you to help somebody down the road. Okay? Not pressure. Just remember it. Because somebody out there loves you. And we all love you. So we're gonna move forward in terms of the program. I'm going to introduce an exceptional young man that has made an impact. That his siblings sitting up here, Caleb Moore. He's been featured in all kind of TV stuff. He won the. Let me make this correct. Let me be official. Let me be specific. He's got a little picture. I have some programs. Each one of you should have got an email me this morning with the electronic version of our program.
Good job.
Technology is empowering. So I emailed you all the program electronically. But Caleb Moore is a student athlete who will be enrolling at TCU this spring. He spent the past 3 years at Marist University as starting quarterback at Marist. He was awarded the prestigious US UK Fulbright Summer Institute Scholarship to the University of Bristol in England with a 3.8 cumulative GPA at the university level now. Okay? From the time he was in high school and throughout his collegiate years, he has taken the time to be of service to others. A true role model of a student athlete, he has been recognized by the Los Angeles Board of Supervisors, the Carson City Council for his impact in California, New York, and now England. He's an exceptional young man. He comes from an exceptional family, that his mom and support system, and is doing a great thing. But most of all, let's hear from Kate in the morning. Thank you.
I was kind of bored. That's all the things you said. I'm a young man from the inner city. I actually live across the California right now, and I attended Birthday High School when I was in high school. And in the fall, I'll be attending TCU University. I play quarterback as well this summer right here. And I just want to share a little story. Oh, what's up, Uncle Kim? That's my family friend. I want to share a little story with you, something that you can take with you everywhere you go. In high school, I had a young man on my team. He was my left tackle. This guy was one of my dearest friends. And this man, the moral of the story is that he took pride in everything that he did. And that's what I want to teach everybody here today. When this young man was in high school, I think he was actually homeless at the time when he first entered high school. And before that, he lived in an abused and battered women's shelter. And before that, he used to live on the streets of downtown LA. And he had, by the time when he was in high school, his living conditions in high school wasn't any better. He didn't have hot water. He told me times where he would microwave water just so he could pour that in a bucket and take it back and all types of things like that. But this man was my left tackle. He didn't have any home to live at. He didn't have any father support, any family support. But when I say this man took pride in everything that he did in football, I mean that. Now, albeit this is probably bad, but he wore brass knuckles under his lineman gloves every Sunday. This one was really bad. That's how much he wanted to protect his quarterback. We'll be walking in downtown Los Angeles, and one of the businessmen, I had an internship at Union Bank at the time, and he was working at a law firm. I know we're high school kids doing the big. We were walking in downtown Los Angeles, and this, I think it was a businessman that bumped into me. My lineman grabbed him, like yoked him up by his shirt like this, and said, "Never bump into my quarterback." Before the football game, he would grab my jersey like this, and he would look at the whole team and say, "You see how clean his uniform is? It better be like that by the end of this game." At the end of the game, he would count out every mark of dirt, of any speck of dust. If there was a little bit of spit on my sock, and he would make the whole team do up downs for every piece of it. This man took pride in everything that he did. So that's something I wanted to leave with you guys. I think it was a quote by the good Dr. Martin Luther King. He says, "If it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, sweep streets like Michelangelo painted, like Da Vinci wrote codes." He says, "Sweep streets so well that when you die, that all the hosts of heavens will look down upon you and say, there lived a street sweeper who did his job well." Thank you.
All right, this gentleman here, our next speaker, I know him, but I had hair. Long time. And things are funny because, we were out of touch for many, many, many years and decades. And all of a sudden he came back to my life. And I'm just so happy and grateful. He and I played at the University of Oregon together. He's become a successful real estate entrepreneur and businessman, and raised six children and been married for 32 years. So just that alone means he's a warrior. 32 years, wow. But we played together at Oregon, and we we had a great time. But most importantly, he was a student athlete, right? And we led the nation for about 6 weeks in pass defense. I mean, we had a group of guys that was intense. And so, but anyway, enough of that. Mr. Ken Bryant.
I am so happy to be here. I am really happy to actually be here. I ran into Reggie, kind of reconnected through LinkedIn or one of the online services, and I just called him and asked him, what is it that I can do? I seen, he had emailed me some stuff that he was doing. I said, how can I help? And he's like, well, we're having this event. And he sent me some stuff about it. So I said, I want to be there. So I just want to make 3 points. I want to address 3 things. first I'm introducing myself. I grew up in Compton, actually live in Carson, so whoop whoop for Carson. And University of Oregon, I want to close with that story. For these young men, I'm so happy, so I'm going to deal with you just before I close. Who I want to address first is y'all. I am so happy to see you here. I met Malik's folks when we got here. His granddaddy is here, his daddy is here, his uncle and his cousin. And I looked at it, you can't go wrong like that. When you have that village around you, you cannot go wrong. I grew up in a single family. My background, I should be a drug dealer. I should be a hoodlum. I should be something. Yeah. It's just by the grace of God that I ain't. Malik can look over at his daddy and his granddaddy and say, I know where I came from. I know why I act like this. I know why I walk like this. I know why I do the stuff that I do, right? I don't have that same story. It's only by the grace of God that is the case, that he guided me along the way. Some coaches, like some of y'all out there, that guided me. So that's how I got to the University of Oregon. So then let me address you guys. To be student athletes is an awesome thing. One of the things that the general public, do not recognize, particularly when you get to your next level. In high school, they make you go to school. If you don't go to school, they will call your parents. At the next level, they don't. Right. They don't care. Professors get paid whether you show up or not. To be a student athlete, and most of us, we see on Saturdays where all of the games are going on. But what's going on all during the week in order to maintain those grades is some serious work. If you can't take a class during fall, you may have to wait till the whole next year before you can take that class because they may fill up. The dynamic behind being a student athlete is awesome, so I applaud you guys for the work that you do. Let me close with this story. This is the story about my good friend, Reggie. While I appreciate him, while I care for him, it's been over 30-something years. We were University of Oregon in the 70s. That gives you it's a stone age, right? I came in as a junior, and he was a senior. When we played the defensive backfield, Reggie was a left corner. We had a friend of ours named David was a right corner, and I played free safety. Playing with them two guys was the easiest job ever. Easiest job I've ever had. Them dudes handled their business. I could sit back here, read my keys, that's all I had to pay attention to. I didn't have to worry about some joker running up the sideline or running up the seam because one of them had it. You're like, well, isn't that the way it's supposed to be? No. The next year when I was a senior, they're like, okay, so now you're the big, and I was, all coast league back then. They had all coast league. I had a whole bunch of honors as a junior because of them. So the next year I'm a senior. Got two new corners. The two new corners that came in were good players, but they both got hurt. So probably about the third or the fourth game, I got these backup corners. And I'm sitting back here in the middle doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm seeing jokers running up the side. And I'm like, I'm in the middle. And there's some dude running up the side. And I'm like, where's my man at? Now I'm wearing way over here. And then somebody's running behind me, which now is my job, right? So what I'm saying to you is the things that we do, the things that he did, is the same thing that he's doing right now. That I could depend on him. I did not have to look and wonder what Reggie was doing or what he's not doing. His business was handled, and that is what he is doing right now with all of these young men. So I'm happy.
Was it good or bad? Okay.
He handled his business.
He handled your business.
We tried, Our next speaker, Dana. Oh, you're just ready. You don't want your introduction?
Introduce me. I'm awed by everybody here.
Well, everybody is, we have exceptional people here, right? But just briefly before we get to Dana, I was in a little tax service once, right? And I didn't know these people around the corner were multimillionaires. And I just, was doing my little thing and worked hard. I ended up having about 300 clients for that and sold that business. But people around the corner saw my work ethic because I used to borrow or rent their conference room when I had to have big meetings. And they appreciated that. So they helped me sometimes down the road. And I talk about all 8 of them people in that room are multimillionaires, you never know. So that's another little caveat, guys. You never know who's watching.
That's right.
Right? You never know who's watching, and that can help you. That wants to help you. As I said to one of my daughters this morning, people love to help people that are helping themselves.
Right.
Right? Everybody here wants to help you because you're doing what you're doing to help yourself. Right? It's appreciated. We love that. I'm telling you. You don't know how much. Anyway, let me digress. Dana is a performance enhancement specialist for elite athletes and high achievers. Her goal is to take your performance from great to outstanding. Just as important, she shows you effective ways to stay balanced and resilient for the duration of a long and successful career. There are many common physical and mental challenges that impact the performance of every elite athlete and performer. Issues such as recuperating fast, overcoming fear, avoiding distractions, avoiding injuries, managing a hectic schedule, and for a team, increasing team synergy. Ms. Dana Nellen.
It's such an honor to be with everybody here. I'm so moved that you're all honoring excellence and achievement in so many ways, in sports and academics and giving back to the community. It really is an honor for me to be here with you. And congratulations to all 3 of you. You're all 3 champions, and in more than a few ways. And I hope that you know that as you go forward. You need to stand up and be proud of who you are. These gentlemen wouldn't be here today if they didn't already have some answers for these kinds of questions. How do I deal with distractions on and off the field? How do I deal with fear? How do I deal with team discord? How do I deal with exhaustion and managing a crazy, hectic schedule? How do I avoid injuries? These are some of the things we address in my business, Coaching for Champions, the art and science of working in for peak sports performance. Yogi Berra, everybody's heard of him, right? One of the greatest catchers in baseball history. He is in the Hall of Fame, was MVP of the American League more than a few times, and went to the World Series 21 times, either as a player, as a coach, or as a manager. And he won 13 of those 21 games. So when he said the game is 90% mental, he knew what he was talking about. 90% mental. I'll tell you a few stories. I had a team baseball player, 14 years old, came in to learn concentration, but I noticed that he didn't have a lot of self-confidence either. He needed to access that power inside of himself so that he could play the way he knew he was capable of playing. So we worked on a focusing exercise, and we did a technique to help him gather his energy inside, to have that self-confidence and power. And I wanted to read you what his mom emailed me, because I was just blown away myself by what she said. She said, this was after the first session. Last night at practice, my son hit all the balls pitched to him and hit a home run over the center field fence. He was light on his feet, moving from place to place on the field, making all the right defensive moves at second base. He was like a butterfly, gliding while mentally sharp. Again at bat, he hit double. So we worked together over 4 weeks, but she emailed me again the second week and said, at the batting cages, right after your session, there were a bunch of parents watching him in awe. He said he wasn't even trying very hard, yet eyewitnesses say he was hitting very hard and very far. The point is, he got his focus, he accessed his self-confidence, and he found that power inside himself to get into the zone. I don't know if you know Gary Brokaw. He played in the NBA. He's over in Tampa. He played in the NBA for 12 years, and he was also a coach, and then he was operations director. He said to me once, he said, you know, if you have self-confidence, the world is a fishbowl. It's such a great quote. The world is a fishbowl if you have self-confidence. University team I had worked with for a few months, and they came in late one Thursday afternoon. They were dragging, they were bloody exhausted, and a lot of them were really banged up. So the capper was that they had finals starting on Monday. So this was a Thursday night. They had to go home and study. And they had 3 hours of practice before, and they were coming to the end of a competitive season that wasn't quite over. So we worked on a recuperation exercise. And we worked together so that they could learn to manage their energy more effectively on the field. As the team was filing out the door, one of the athletes came up to me with a big smile and said, you know, I feel like I slept for 8 hours. These are simple techniques. There's nothing, I wish you guys were coming to the All-Star Luncheon later. Reggie will take, because I'm going to share something. Right? Let's see, another guy from Compton, minor league baseball player. Great guy. He was having a season slump. So he wanted focus techniques to get his act together on the field. But then I found out that he thought his coach disliked him intensely. And he also had a young lady, which you'll find out about, hot in pursuit of him, being a handsome young football player. He didn't want it, let alone need, during a professional competitive season. So we worked on a focusing technique he could use in games, and then we had some conversations, and he came to realize that the coach didn't dislike him intensely. He saw his potential. He wanted him to rise to the occasion and fulfill it. And then he realized he had the power to choose whom he wanted in his life. Because it's extremely important, especially as an elite athlete, that you have the best company. You all know that. This is your company. But even when you're in a professional team, have the best company around you.
Yeah.
Guess what? Every single person in this room has everything you need to be a champion. Every single person in this room has everything you need to be a champion and to reach your dream. You have the power. You have immense power inside you to accomplish anything you want in your life. You have the wisdom inside of you. And you have the knowledge as well inside of you. The only thing I can recommend is that you spend more time working in as much as you spend time working out. Very important. So again, I'm just so moved to be with you guys. It's such an honor to be here. And I wish you guys all the best. I know you're all going to do great things. I haven't talked to Malik or Chase, but I met Darryl. I know you're going to do great. Have confidence. Find that power. Got it. Thank you all.
Thank you so very much. Okay. One of our associates is put in the back, James Gaskin, works with us in recruiting and scouting, so he's here. So if you want to talk to him, have some questions. In fact, James, I know you're ready to talk at any time and places. Always. Say a few words. Tell them what you do and that process.
How you guys doing? I'm James Gaskin.
Hello.
Work on getting kids in college, especially athletes. Athletes with good grades. We took on a few last year. I said probably about 85%. Those that were ready to go to college. Some who weren't ready to go to college. I know everybody, all the kids in here want to go to college and further their athletic career, am I correct? Yeah, so it requires, student athletes. So you have to have your academics together first. And then the athletics come after, but they both side by side.
Yes.
In order to get to the next level. So what I do is I work with Bryant, putting kids in the college. Not always Division I colleges, because everybody wants to be on TV. But believe me, Division II and Division III, Division II, then AI gives scholarships also. So you'll still be able to go to school to get the education, which is the bottom line of that degree. Being on TV, everybody going to be on TV. Everybody will be in the NFL. So if you get that piece of paper, you win.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. We try our best to get kids in college. Assuming you guys are going to college, right? That's the plan, right? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So the rest of you guys are the same thing. I'm just saying, all together. I'm sure there are other kids here that want to college, but that's basically what I do. I work with ground and getting kids to college. So if you want some more information, come see me, parents, kids, anybody. Okay?
All right, so quickly, who are you? Say your name. What you do? What you do? Why are you here?
Hi, everybody. My name is Kendrick Nice. I'm the head football coach at Linwood High School.
Thank you. Come on, man.
My name is Luncheon. I'm a fellow teammate of DJ, and I'm here to support him.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. So,
My name is Mark Williams. I'm the former coach of Linwood High School. I'm here to support DJ.
All right.
much love, baby.
My name is Darius Bradley, and I'm a student athlete, and I'm invited to
Thank you. Welcome.
My name is Victor Bellman, financial advisor with Darryl Jones. I'm here to support everybody.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Andre Hill. I'm here with my little brother, Chrissy, but I'm here to support everybody.
Thank you so much. Come on, Devil Ugly.
I'm Devin Chrissy, student athlete. Coach Reggie Grant was my former coach, and here to support people every single year.
So where you going to school now? You don't know yet. You haven't decided yet.
I'm not sure. I got a couple of offers, but just trying to wait around, see who's the best fit for me.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Adrian West. I'm here to support my cousin Malik Ridgell.
There we go.
Right.
Yeah. Come on. Yo, you gotta get up. Come on, you can't hide now. It's too small to hide. Come on, what's your name, please? Thank you so very much. Welcome. There we go. Yes.
My name is Kishana. I'm Malik's mother.
Welcome. Thank you. Yes.
Darryl Robinson. DJ's dad.
You forgot that for a second. That camera light got intense.
Also, here to support them.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Robert. I'm DJ's brother.
Yes.
My name is Robert. Here to support Darryl Robinson.
Yes.
My name is Thomas Ridgell, the grandfather of Malik Ridgell.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Betty Ridgell. I'm here to support Malik Ridgell.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm Stephen Ridgell. I'm Malik's father.
Thank you. Well, yes. Yes.
My name is Jelani Hinton. I'm here to support my cousin Malik.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Dale Wesley. I'm a minister and here to support Malik.
Welcome. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
My name is Willie Buzz. I'm here to support the league.
Next.
Audrey Thomas, DJ's sister.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you.
Kiara Miller here to support DJ.
Okay.
I'm Julie Robinson, and I'm a proud mother of your
Mama, yes. You're up.
My name is Demoy Holmes. I'm a student athlete, and I'm just here to support everybody.
Much better. That's what I'm talking about, right? We had a conversation earlier, private joke.
My name is Martin Tech. I'm assistant coach at Rancho Dominguez Prep, also vice president of the Champion Fit program, which is a nonprofit program to inspire and mentor youth.
That's all right.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
My name is Max Rose, and I'm the boss.
All right.
Yeah, hello everyone. Darryl Rose, Coach Rose, junior varsity head coach for Hamilton High School, and I'm here to support Reginald Grant. I'm all the time around him, so y'all guys, y'all gonna get me too. Thank you.
But he also sports training in Los Angeles. His other son played in the NFL for 5 years, and he does individual training. So, you know, anyway, go ahead.
My name is Morgan Taylor. I go to Bourbon Day High School. I'm the cousin and teammate of Chase Moore.
All right.
Yeah, my name is Kenneth Taylor. That's my nephew Chase right there, and I'm here to represent him with my sister and my wonderful nephew right here, Kyle.
Shout out.
My name is Jancy. I also go to Bourbon Day, and I'm here to support Kai, Chase, and my aunt.
All right. Wait. Nobody asked you what you wanted to do.
Vanessa, I'm here to support everybody.
Thank you. Much love. Yes, sir. No mercy.
My name is Michael Hughes. I'm a student athlete and friend of Chase Moore.
Very good. Thank you. Next.
My name is Jermaine Dobbs, and I'm a student athlete at West LA Community College, and I'm here to support everybody.
And I love this young man because he's been on me, calling me. I know who he was, had to look his profile up 3 times. He's like, I need some help. I'm coming. I'm going to bother you. So,
That's all right.
Right thing. Right thing. 3.5 GPA. And the what's that? The old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, so you keep building and we'll help you. Go ahead.
Right. My name is Reggie Foster. I was the D coordinator at Rancho Dominguez Prep. I'm also the president of Champion Fit. I brought a couple of my guys from Rancho Dominguez to come support this and see what they have to look for as a scholar, as a student athlete. All right.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Colin Moore. I'm here to support everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Christian Washington, and I'm a student at Harvard College, and I'm here to support my 2 cousins.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is...
Oh, Juanita, come on. I have you shy. Last week I saw it down to NAACP or no, NCAA. I'm all confused. NACP installation, and she's up there singing on the mic and blowing and doing all this stuff in front of a lot of whole groups of people. And you hear Alex, she's shy.
No, I'm not shy. My name is Anita Watson, and I'm absolutely here to support Reggie Grant. My grandsons are still in elementary school, but I brought Chandler today because I want him to see what excellence is.
There we go. That's it. That is what we do. You can't get up. Get you next. Dan is up.
Me?
Go ahead.
Oh.
Not you.
I'm the founder and president of Coaching for Champions, the art and science of working in. My goal is to support young athletes like this to navigate the really challenging world of elite sports at so many levels. They need help with physical, mental, and life challenges. So this is my game.
Kenny?
Well, you've already heard my story. I'm Ken Bryant. I am a real estate broker in the South Bay, but like I said, I'm just here just to be the change that I would like to see in the world.
There we go.
I'm Faye Washington, and I'm cousin to Chase Moore and Kaylin.
You want to introduce yourself?
I am Callian J. Taylor Moore, attorney at law. I am also an assistant football coach at Verbum Day. I've previously been the JV head coach at Verbum Day. I'm the first female in the state of California to coach on the football level at a high school. Let's see, what else? There are 3 women that actually coach football on the varsity level. Here in California, I'm the first one. There's one in Washington, D.C., and there's also one in Texas. And ESPN came out over the summer and had done a 30 for 30 on me. So me and these other 3 ladies, and it looks like the 30 for 30 will actually be shown during the Super Bowl. Not only that, I'm the first female that Snoop Dogg hired to coach in his league, first female to be a head coach in a Pop Warner level, and I'm also a current LA commissioner of football. In addition to that, I'm the director of football operations at Verbum Day. I'm the recruiting coordinator at Verbum Day, and with professional agency Rival Sports Group, I help negotiate contracts. I'm also an assistant coach of the California Classic, the Southern section South, and the football game is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, yes. Big Mike, come on, man. You can't sneak in, man. We're 380 pounds. Come here.
I tried.
380, that's not right.
Oh, mercy, baby. Give him 2 minutes, man. Come on. We don't get all these people in the room at the same time very often, so, you know.
That's true. That is true. Good morning, good afternoon. Mike Davis, USC alumni, class of 07. First football player to graduate from the Leventhal School of Accounting at USC.
Say that again.
First football player to graduate from the Leventhal School of Accounting at USC.
That's a big deal, folks.
Number 3 ranked program in the nation at the time, and I was also one of 3 black students. The other 2 went on to be consultants or something else too. And now, my football career at USC was great. Played in 2 national championships, won one, lost one to Texas, which was recently voted the best college football game ever played.
It was.
We're kind of proud of that. You know, we wish we could have won it, but these things happen. And now I'm doing some great stuff, working with Reggie Grant on building the community. Work as an accountant really for athletes, entertainers, just helping them like build their brands, build their businesses. And working with Grant and trying to really coordinate anything we do that's on a private enterprise level to somehow funnel it back into the African American community in some way, shape, or form. That's how I give back. That's how I feel the need to make my presence felt. I mean, especially with all the gifts that football has given me, it's my duty to really give back every day in every way. So, I'm proud of you guys as athletes, especially with the National Alliance of African American Athletes. It's made such a difference in my life. I actually got involved with it after I graduated from SC. I was my firm I was working with was Deloitte & Touche. It's an international accounting firm, and we were one of the main sponsors with the Alliance. And I got to meet Reggie Grant. He gave me he helped me see more purpose and direction with my life through sports, and it was a vision that I hadn't quite developed yet. Because as an athlete, you're so busy playing the game and competing, and trying to get to that next level that you don't really see how much you're accomplishing until you're out of it. So guys, all I can say is really just enjoy the game while you're in it. Make the most of every day, every opportunity, every practice. Don't take the Allen Iverson approach, man. It's all about the practice. Because if you practice it right, the game will get right. And then from there, translate that work ethic from the game, from the field, to the classroom, into every aspect of your life. Not just the classroom, but to how you're being a leader with, your boys that are still in high school, helping them to see how you're taking your football game to the next level or taking your life to the next level after the game. It's important that they see you. I mean, for me, growing up, I didn't know any college graduates. I was a Compton native, grew up in Compton. My pops was in jail for life. And I really didn't have any male role models like that until I got to SC. So, that experience changed my life, put me on a different track, a different direction. And I hope you guys really maximize the opportunity to allow us to do the same for you.
All right.
Fight on, baby.
They can fight on until they leave my tax alone. So I thought Chris Ward was going to come by today, so he's UA, but Chris Ward and I played together with the Jets. He was the first round draft pick, which means he got a lot more money than I did when he played. But he lives here locally, and he called me the day after the game, of course, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm driving to work, and he went to Ohio State, so he had to definitely wake me up in the morning. So it's all good, though. When you're number 2 in the world, it's not bad. It's not necessarily where you want to go, but you know, you shoot for Jupiter and you end up on the moon, you're still 50,000 miles from home. Right? I mean, I'm just a poor black boy that grew up born in Greenbrier Projects, Atlanta, Georgia, and High Point Projects in Seattle, Washington. And I've seen every city in the United States of America 95% of the time when somebody else is dying. So life has been okay for me. You know? So I had good times, bad times, made money, lost money. I lost some money, but I made some money. That means, you know, I did some stuff. So it's all good. It's about the process and the challenge. And again, it's all about these three young men. Right? That's right. Uplifting them and honoring them for what they've done so far, what we expect them to do in the future. And we all here are honored to have known you at this point in your life. Because someday we're going to say, yeah, I know him when he didn't have that. He was just high school. So let's give him a little round of applause, please. Our next speaker, we're going to change the program a little bit because as people start eating this, you know, it's kind of everybody's brain kind of shuts down. So we're going to get our keynote speaker up and let him say a few words. Met this young man. He's not young anymore. I was young when I met him. Probably 97, 98, right? When the internet first started, when I met him, I'm serious, right? And the internet first started, these business people I was working with, they took me in a room and they said, they had a whole room computer and said, this is internet, da-da-da-da. And I did a little research and found, wow, this is what the new dynamic is. But anyway, that's the time I met Mark. And Mark is an entrepreneur. He's a renowned speaker. He owns a learning center in Woodland Hills. He's president of another business. He's has his own radio talk show host. He has done a whole bunch of things since I met him. Back in 97, 98. And we just had some interaction. And our paths crossed a couple of times. But, you know, he's gone on to do phenomenal things. He's a phenomenal person. If it wasn't for, you know, people like Dana and Ken and Mark, we wouldn't even be here today. Right? And again, Leon Davis, I mentioned him earlier, you know, he helped get with some of the underwriting of this, you know, pay for the food and the venue and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, again, he's done a tremendous amount of things since I first met him. He's got, you know, degrees and law degrees from Santa Barbara College and went to Biola University. He's got a BA and MBA in bio and what is it now? In computer, BS in computer engineering, MBA from Biola, 2 MBAs from Biola, and a law degree from UC Santa Barbara, right? Santa Barbara College, the law school. He's been on NBC, MSNBC, CNN, executive board member, all kind of stuff. Mark Campbell.
None of it's true. I don't know who he's talking about at all. No, it's just an honor to be here today and to be able just to celebrate with your accomplishments and what you've done. You are here for a reason. It is not by mistake. You know, you were set here just by divine intervention so that you can influence our community and just be a positive role model to us. You know, and it just cannot really express one of our lists to be able to witness and celebrate your success. You know, the amount of work your parents and teachers and coaches have put into them is just extraordinary. And it takes a lot of work to do. And I just have to commend you for that. You know, when Mr. Grant had offered me the opportunity to come and speak to you today, a number of things came to mind. I'm having to recall the Mark Campbell I was back in high school. You know, most of us we're all different from those days. You know, some of us 20, 30, 40 years ago. You know, we grew up in a different time, right? The things that they face today is not the things that we had to deal with yesterday. So definitely the Mark Campbell I knew then is not the Mark Campbell I know now. We're complete opposites. You know, after this point of realizing how much I've aged, I came to realize that I'd grown out of touch as that teenager that I once was, and there was no way I could be who I am today. I had hair, that was good. Hair was good. You know, hair, had the waves, had everything. Had dreads for for a while. You know, it's all gone. We don't have no more. But you know, like many of us, you know, I was too cool for my shadow back then too. You know, walking those halls in high school and you know, ladies man, unstoppable. I was excellent shape. I was an athlete, just like you. Had good grades, and dark and handsome, right? You can't forget that one. Just minus the tall part. But I began playing football at the age of 9. I started playing when I was 11. I began at 9, but I started playing when I was 11. You know, there's a difference there, right? It was not until then when I no longer feared hitting or getting hit. I loved the game. Every day I played. I had a football in my hand every day. Football and books. That's what it was all about. There was nothing else. There's nothing else that was going to be there to distract me. But the one thing I didn't like is that my nickname was Shrimp back then. You know, shrimp's not big. You know, little shrimp. And you know, when you're that small and you're wearing pads and a helmet, you just look like a bobblehead running across the field. And that's all. You know, it's the cutest thing you could see when you see your bobblehead son running across the field. You know, those are the memories that you'll never forget. You know, parents will always remember that. And then after that, you grow into this. You know, you grow into the vision and what they dream for you to become. I remember my mom used to always tell me big things came in small packages. And I never believed it. And I'm still waiting for that too. But despite, I can guarantee you one of the most pleasurable moments, again, is the memories for every parent watching their little bobblehead son run around the field. And predicting one day they'll be here, like today, recognizing you for your hard work and your achievements, and your love and the sacrifice that each and every one of you had for this sport, the days that you had to wake up early and go to practice, and just the commitment and the amount of money that you spent, and countless of dollars for those pads and those gloves, and had to have the best equipment, the best cleats, the best everything, and it just had to look really good on the field. But when you back that up with grades and academics, it's beautiful. Yeah. Because you're not just looking at a ball player, you're looking at a scholar. That's right. On the field, and that is the most recognizable thing you can be and you can have. Opposite of what society may present you to be or assume that you're going to be, you broke all the odds. And we congratulate you on that. In high school, when I played football, as long as I had good grades, I could play ball. That was the deal between my parents and I. My GPA was not based on school. My GPA was based on my parents' requirements. My dad was a sergeant major in the Marine Corps, so that did a lot. It wasn't difficult to determine whose standards I had to live by in my home. It was his standards and part of Uncle Sam's. But after my 12th grade season, I was still uncertain about what I was going to do. And I often prayed that, you know, both God and I had the same plans. Because I know you guys talk to God, right? Okay. We always want to make sure that my plans was God's plans. And the thought never came up about God's plans being my plans. It was my plans at the time. You know, as for college, that was not optional. I knew I was going to go to college. There was no option there. I would be the first in my family to attend college, and being of Jamaican descent, somewhere, someplace, I knew my mother was burning the candle. So, and all of us have some Jamaican friends out there, right? Yeah, that was life. But I was uncertain about any prospects of where I would play, and if I would ever play the game again. So eventually I decided to follow my dad's footsteps, and I joined the Marine Corps. This way I'll have money for school. And as I went to school, and beginning the second semester, I joined the reserves, so I could still attend college. Because I wasn't sure where I was going. You know, I didn't have any prospects, I didn't know what was going to happen. So, being eager and want to get out there, you're going to make decisions and choices. I was never one to want to play in the backfield. I wanted to make sure I was doing something, and that's why I went to the Marine Corps. And going to the Marine Corps is definitely something that I will never forget, and I appreciate it, and I love the Corps to this day. But when I graduated from high school on a Friday, and I was in Marine Corps boot camp on Monday, no time to soak in the joy of my accomplishment, I was ready to become a Marine. Although after the first week of boot camp, I quickly realized being young is so much easier than being a Marine. I didn't earn the title yet, but being yelled at and spit on and whatever happened in the Corps will stay there. But it was definitely some experience for someone just graduating fresh out of high school. It's a wake-up call. It wasn't Hell Week at all, like it was in football. This was 10 times worse than football Hell Week. But once I completed boot camp, the desire of playing football was still there. So I decided to walk on to San Diego State as a running back. See, I played running back when I was in high school. I was more than fit. I was Marine Corps strong. Shortly after walking on in the pregame, I was running through the tube hole, and with the hit, the linebacker came over, and I broke my knee in half and smashed it. Smashed it, and now today my knee is rebuilt from my hip. Don't have any metal in there anymore, thank God. But that's what happened to me. And at that time, the whole dream about playing football was over. Today, my knee, again, is rebuilt from my hip. And it's tough, because you still love the sport. You still see yourself playing the game, but you know that it was just a season. It was just a moment in time that was set aside for you to enjoy that opportunity. So just like the gentleman said, enjoy every part of it. Play like you've never played before. Never take a practice, never take a game for granted, because you never know when God's plans is going to come in your hand. So you have to make sure you're paying attention to every move that you're making. After breaking my knee, I then had a second awakening. My body was no longer good enough to be a Marine, discharged from the Marine Corps. So within the same year, graduated from high school, played football, joined the Marine Corps, broke my knee, couldn't play football, couldn't be a Marine, all in 1 year. As I was medically discharged from the Corps, I was no longer entitled to college tuition. So the money that I thought I was going to have for college was gone. So I had no money at this point. What makes it worse is that when I was discharged 1 day before I was going to receive my money. So at that point, you go into a depression. And what are you going to do? You have good grades. You've been raised in a good home. But what happens? What's your next step? Your community reminds you about what you did, but they never talk about where you're going. They don't know where you're going at that point. They only remember what you did. So you have to decide on where you're going and what you're going to do, what's going to be your next step. And that's between you and God. This type of reality is very hard for someone who has always been determined and hard-headed. A lot of us are hard-headed. When these things happen, we don't know what we're going to do. So for months I sat in my room in silence and did nothing. God and I were not in speaking terms during this time. And then one day God spoke to me and told me to get up. So I did. I had to accept that God had other plans for me, and that football was just a season, Marine Corps was just a season, and everything that I did prior to then was just a season. The seasons had to change. Shortly after, I had relocated to Ventura County because I needed to get a new start. I needed a fresh community, but I still wanted to keep that same San Diego climate. So Santa Barbara was a place that I decided to move to. After moving to Santa Barbara, Ventura County, I enrolled back in school and began my new life. During that time is the time when I met Reginald Grant. Reginald invited me to different functions, He invited me to an art show. Why would anyone at that age go to an art show? But that wasn't the point. The point is that he wanted me to attend the art show so I could learn how to network and talk to people. And he knew more than I knew because he's been there before and what direction I needed to go and how he needed to mentor me. But the best thing about it that he didn't know is while I was walking across the street, as I parked my car and walked across the street to the art show, Tommy the sorter came up to me and fixed my tie. And he said, "Your tie's crooked, young man." And he fixed it for me. That made my day. I didn't expect to. I knew Reginald, but I didn't know Tommy. But it was definitely a great opportunity. So holding a full-time job, I eventually met my wife-to-be. And I continued to attend school full-time. We've now been together for 19 years. So it is possible to meet your wife, young gentlemen. It's possible. Stay with them, all right? Never did I imagine I would go on to earn multiple degrees, host radio shows, find success as an entrepreneur in education, become an advisor to people in a countless number of organizations. I never imagined that would happen. It's just the life that I've lived thus far has just been unbelievable. And I love God's plans more than I love my plan. So it all works out eventually. My wife didn't know who she married, but neither did I. Again, God's plans went before mine. Like I said, it's written, many are the plans of a man's heart, but it's God's purpose that prevails. So from a young age, I was determined to live a purpose-driven life. A life based on principles, because principles are similar to laws, as they never change. Early on, I knew my self-worth was to come from God and not from man. Similar to characters of the alphabet, the letter A is always the same, it never changes. The number 1 is still the number 1, no matter how it's used. Characters know its purpose and never deviates from its value. They stay on course, and because of this philosophy, I'm driven by character and leadership. Gentlemen, as you continue to make tackles, defend, block opponents, and score touchdowns, I want to share with you a couple of principles that I personally have adopted and believe that they're center stage for any generation. First one is, don't be fooled by measurable desires, as so many people are fooled by many different false desires. If you can measure your desire, you have not dreamed big enough. Your goals should be so clearly defined that only you can reach them, and no one else can obtain them better than you can. This is not to mean you alone are to earn them, but you also must value those who take this journey with you. You are called to be leaders, even when you don't want to lead. At the very moment you begin to measure your success, you have just told yourself you can no longer perform. At that point, you've reached your maximum potential, both on and off the field, in your family, in your life, and in your community. Just as you should not measure your desires, do not value tangible objects, for such objects are artificial, and they all have self-lives. Second, all your life you've been taught to finish what you started. Yes, this is true, but learn to finish before you begin. You have to see yourself in the finish line. Right. Just like a small child who pretends in the mirror to deliver an Oscar acceptance speech. They vision the end prior to the beginning. Little to know, 20 years later, that pretending will become the practice it took to accept their Oscar. When you're playing football, we don't run 5 yards and rest. You take it all the way to the end zone. But because no matter how well the offense plays, you already know how hard you have to hit and the route you have to take in order to score the touchdown. First, become emotionally tied to your end and follow it to completion. This way, you can better maneuver through your obstacles and your objectives. My third point is return home. And as I heard this evening, many people have mentioned this valuable principle. A very significant factor that destroys our community is often we obtain a level of success and few of us return home. My final principle for you is to remember to return to your community. Return not just for yourself, but to show the gratitude that your community did for you. Success is a community-based process. You cannot and will not get there on your own. Unfortunately, many believe once they have made it, the community is now beneath them. When in fact, the community is who influenced you to get you to where you are and identify to where you are going. The countless hours families, teachers, and friends, coaches, and mentors invest to encourage you and to support your accomplishments should never return to them void. In all you're earning, remember to give back and to continuously pay it forward, because when you choose to separate yourself from your community is when you begin to falter and the road now becomes lonely. We see this oftentimes with athletes and anyone that's made it to that limelight. They get to a certain point where they feel they're above God, they're above people, they're above their community, and what happens when they falter? They return back home and they expect everyone to still support them like they once did. And they finally realize it's a lonely it's a lonely road. So I encourage you to always return back to your community. You have to return to the community that once supported you, so you can build the next generation to replace you. Yes. You look around this room today, this is your community. Of course, this is not as far as number-wise, the community is much larger, but it is a reflection of your community. There are many men and women here who have traveled the road you're about to begin. Many hours they spend away from families to invest in you. They see you in what they once were, in themselves. The men here return back home, such as Reginald Grant, the coaches, everyone, just to mentor you. They return back to their community. You are the next generation of fathers, athletes, and professionals. You're responsible to one day return home and to mentor the next generation of superstars. So gentlemen, it does not matter how much yards you gain or how many touchdowns you score, whether or not you earn multiple degrees. In the end, it's your character. You will be remembered by your character. Be a leader and an individual of sound character. Live your life through principles that determines who you are. Be hungry, love God, and always lift someone else up when you can. Congratulations.
Chase Moore, Bourbon Day High School. Here's a little snippet about Chase. Not everything by any stretch of imagination. From a letter of recommendation by Anthony Brett. Chase Moore is the definition of what an aspiring young man is. Chase is a fine student, a superb athlete, and a wonderful person. Chase devotes countless hours to his studies in order to achieve goals that he sets forth for his future. He studies hard and works hard in the classroom. Chase is also a wonderful athlete. Never before have I seen a young man work as hard as Chase does to be successful. He puts in hours and hours of training himself mentally and physically to be successful on the football field. Chase is also the ultimate teammate. He is a leader and he encourages his teammates to work hard as well. I would have to say the most enduring quality of Chase is that he's a wonderful human being. He's a smart, funny, charismatic, and intelligent young man. He carries himself in such a mature fashion that you forget he's a young man. Chase is a wonderful person. He exemplifies everything that the Franklin D. Watkins Award Trophy stands for. He is a leader in the classroom, on the football, and in his community. He carries himself like a lot of class and determination. Is that Chase?
Hello everyone, my name is Chase Moore, like everyone said, and I just want to share a quote that means a lot to me. It's by Giovanni Ruffin, running back at Georgia State University a couple years ago. It goes, the poorest man is not one without a pen. The poorest man is one without a dream. And I'm gonna explain my dream to you a little bit, let you know. I'm gonna take you guys down the trip down memory lane, let you know who I was, who I am, and where I plan to go. I come from a single parent home with just a mother and two siblings, a brother and sister, and a great support system, a great family. Like my uncle and little cousins are right there in the back and everything. My brother's right here, my mom's right there. And I just have to say I couldn't do it without them. Like the entirety of my life, they've always been pushing me and everything. I went to Curtis Middle School, and there I wasn't like who I am now. I wouldn't be considered, or I wouldn't exemplify the qualities of a Watkins Award nominee. I didn't have good grades, barely didn't graduate middle school, you know, all those things. And then we have high school, and ever since the first day of my freshman year, I decided to change. I started getting in a whole bunch of clubs, you know, being a campus ministry leader, and just trying to like inspire people because I needed inspiration at that time. My father, he's currently in prison for life. So around the middle school era of my life, that's why I had such bad grades and everything, because I just didn't really see any positive factors, no positive outlets. But when I got to Bird, like that all changed. I'm a 3.6 GPA student athlete, participate in track. Yes, I'm a student ambassador. So that's like a spokesperson for the school, or also the face of the school and everything. And I just gotta say, it's been a blessing for my entire high school experience. In the future, I plan to become an engineer. And I want to use it in a metaphorical way, kind of. I want to rebuild the inner city. Physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. I plan to like go with the inner city, public sector and everything, you know, aid in public education, and like really build upon that, because I went to Amber Elementary School, and that's the local elementary school in the inner city, and we had like antiquated textbooks and dictionaries and everything, and not until almost the third grade did I know how to read. So coming from a student that didn't know how to read to a top student at the school, to like a Watkins Award nominee, that's just a blessing. And I can't do it without you guys. It takes a village to raise a child. And I thank you guys for all being here to listen and speak. Thank you.
We'll get some out. We'll get the pictures. Malik Ridgell. I did pronounce your last name right, correct? 3.8 GPA, Washington Prep High School, ranked 6 out of 500. Also a football player, 1,400 SAT, 17 ACT, academic achievement, National Junior Honor Guard, Principal's Honor Roll, Benjamin Banneker Math Award, Athletic Awards, OD All-American, First Team All-League, Second Team All-League. Malik is an outstanding role model for students and student athletes alike. He has demonstrated a dedication not only to succeeding on the athletic field, but in the classroom as well. Despite the challenges he has faced as a person and an athlete, he has managed to stay focused and determined to succeed, even having 2 or 3 head coaches in one season, right? He has reached back to tutor and work with other young people in his neighborhood and community. He is dedicated to his family and follows his beliefs as a Christian. He has been recognized on a national basis for his athletic skills, but has maintained a level head and retained his even keel and focus. His work ethic is second to none, and he will be successful at whatever he decides to pursue. He will be an asset to whichever university he settles on.
Hello, my name is Malik Ridgell, and I play linebacker, also run track, and I play basketball. And I don't really have as much to say as Chase did. I just wanted to get up here and say thank you to everybody who helped me get here, and especially to my mom, for she's basically steered me on the right road to get here. And I also want to say thank you to my dad. He's also doing everything he can to help me to be successful in life. And that's it.
Okay, Darryl Robinson, 4.17 GPA. I wouldn't know what a 4.17 when I was in high school. Like, man, AP classes. What's an AP classes? He was starting varsity quarterback since his sophomore year, so he has two of his head coaches here. I mean, he's an exceptional young man, driven to succeed by his unflinching focus on the prize. When challenged, he rises to the occasion and has been a leader by example. He is the type of young man that people who have the opportunity to interact with him often say, I want my son to be like him. He is determined to be the first in his family to graduate from college, and with his mindset, he will achieve his goal as well as many others. His light is bright. He is an exceptional role model for young people and adults alike. We can all learn something from a person like Darryl, who has demonstrated leadership qualities far beyond his years.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. It is my honor to receive the Watkins California Athlete Award. For the most important part of this award is to be recognized for my academic achievement. I love football. It is my passion. But as I was told over and over again, since I was a little boy, football dreams can be shattered in one moment by one injury, and you have to have something to fall back on. Unfortunately, that statement became my reality this past season when I suffered a shoulder injury that resulted in me not being able to play the last of my senior year. Because that happened, my chance of getting recruited to play football for college dropped significantly. As of right now, I don't have any football offers, but I do have acceptance letters from 3 universities because of my 4.0 GPA. All right. My work in the classroom did pay off. I would not be standing here today receiving this award if it weren't for the love and support of my family, coaches, and teachers. And I have to first thank God, because without Him, nothing is possible. Amen. I thank my parents for supporting me in everything I tried to do and for the life lessons they have taught me. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I also have to say thank you to my football coaches, Coach Mark Williams and Coach Kendrick Knox. Thank you for being there for me both on and off the field. And finally, thank you, Mr. Grant, for bringing me the opportunity to win this award. For those who are chasing the dream of playing football in college and the NFL, remember this: you cannot be successful on the football field if you're not successful in the classroom. And if for some reason your football dreams don't come true, success in the classroom will bring its own rewards. Thank you.
Photo opportunities in 1 minute, okay?
That's a youngster. That's a youngster.
Bob just came in. He just made a $100 contribution, which will help us to do this again next year. We want to make it bigger. I want to use this facility. I didn't say about this facility, but this facility is actually owned by Dr. Betty and Hal Walker. Hal Walker's in the Smithsonian. Over there is the only training module outside of NASA in the world. So they have, NASA has training modules, and there's one here in this facility. They actually own this building. They've been here 27 years, but they finally bought it about 3 or 4 years ago. They do STEM, math, science, technology, tutoring and mentoring here, as well as at home and church, but as well as in about 25 schools in South Africa. Normally they spend about 6 months a year here and 6 months in South Africa. Right? So there's some real powerful people in terms of what they're doing, and they have been making an impact, want to continue to make an impact on the lives of young people. And so whatever you can contribute to support them, if you know kids that need to be in math and science programs, we'd like to just, let you remember that. They actually could not be here today. There was a funeral, so they had to attend. So again, we love supporting those people that are doing the right thing. On that note, I'd like to just also recognize Caleb for all of his accomplishments. He's a young man for the year, so. The national event will be in Washington, D.C. It was here in California for about 8 years, but 2 years ago we get kind of more on a welcome, and something like that. But again, because we focus on African American males, we don't just get somebody to give us $100,000 or $200,000 a year. We have to go out and earn that money or get sponsors and that kind of stuff. So if you need owning corporations that want to support this kind of program, we've also done SAT programs in 5 cities. We've done as many as 25,000 kids at one time. So we don't just help African American males, but our focus is African American males because we know how society views them. And for those of you that don't know, I just released a new book, A Teacher Drew Education in America, which came out in November. And so if you want to support it, take $20 and that goes towards this program. I have another book that actually comes out. It'll probably be in the spring, but it's a Teacher's View, Reaching and Teaching African American Males. And I did a research study because I just finished my master's. Even though I've been teaching for 14 years, I just didn't have a master's, right? So I had to get that piece of paper so I can try to get some more money. And I have 3 daughters. Now, I do this, but I don't have any boys. Because again, I went through the athletic process. I understand how difficult it is. I've been in situations as an African American male where, somebody walked by somebody and touched their water. So I understand all the problems and issues and how the playing field is not level. Okay? And that's why I became involved in this and what's one of my passions, is helping these young men, being a support system for them. Right? So you can be somewhere in Ohio at any university across the country, and we know somebody that knows somebody at one of them universities. One shape, form, or fashion. We know somebody, it's in our network. We have 95 Watkins kids, or 100 of them now that have went through the program. We have a 98% graduation rate. Everybody graduates. So we expect of you. Right? So now they got 2 more brothers. No matter where they go to school, they have some people they can reach out to and touch to and talk to. Maybe they don't want to talk about the family, but they can talk to one of their guys about it. Right? I remember being in University of Oregon, and not everybody thought, everybody thought he was going to play in the NFL, which is not for long. Even if you played, that guy plays 3 years, or 2.5, but pension is 3 years. So a lot of people most of the people don't get no pension. They don't get any money. If you learn how to leverage it, you can get to the advantage for it, but most of them don't, that's not reality. 10 million people go play high school, middle school football, 2.5 to 3 million high school, 250,000 going to play college football, 13,000 going to get it paid for. They only draft 256 people next month. 256 out of 10 million. So even if you're lucky enough to play in the league, it's only...
More importantly for what he's done in the classroom. He has maintained a 4.0 his entire high school career. And it wasn't from anything really that my husband and I did. It was because of his work ethic. He did not have to be told to go study and do his homework. He did that on his own. And I've always told him that as long as he does the right thing, keeps God first, his options are wide open.
That's right.
So whatever he does in his future, I know that he's going to be successful. And I'm just so proud of you.
We'll open it up to a couple of other people. Anybody else? Come forward.
My name is Darryl Robinson. I'm DJ's dad. And I just want to reiterate the importance of the education. I went to Loyola Sarah, SC, and 30 years removed from SC. I semester or 2 away from graduating, and the one thing I try to tell the kids is not to take the shortcut. Most of them try to get by. The others try to get over, and I always tell them to get better. That's what I've tried to preach to them, because I was a smart guy that was always trying to beat the system. And you can't beat City Hall. Sooner or later, you're going to have to do what City Hall wants you to do.
That's right.
And so, again, I commend these gentlemen, and to those, the future, and those that have come back and spoken. anytime I see any of our kids swaying away from the sports or the school, I'm reeling them back in, because I know I made mistakes, and I don't want, you can't live in regrets. You don't want to live in regrets. Get out there and be your best, do your best, and life will all work out for you. Thank you.
My name is Kendrick Knoxon. I'm a head coach at Nellen High School, but the most proud part also is I get a double treat today, because I'm a Verbum Day alumni. I get a chance to see a Verbum Day student and a young man I had a chance to coach this year today with. And it's inspiring to see how these young men have set example, because truly it's hard to be on a campus and be considered a square. And what I mean by that is doing the right thing. See, there's so much peer pressure on these schools that a lot of our young men don't understand the thing to do, that the right thing is the right thing to do. Yeah. So that's why we have to keep encouraging them as coaches and parents that the right thing will always be the right thing. And I think you guys have to go back to your schools and let the other students know that too, especially the student athletes, that doing the right thing is the coolest thing to do. Because I know at Linwood we have some great athletes there. That's probably better than DJ, but they won't go to college because they don't have academic standards. I'm talking about some real good guys that probably had D1 scholarships. And I'm quite sure at Verbum Day, and especially at Washington High School too, there's some students there, but they don't take academics serious. So I think you young men could be the pipeline to go back and spread that word and show. A lot of times you have to be by example, not what you say, but what you do. That's just like this young man here. I'm quite sure you were an example to your cousin. When he saw you do the right thing, now he said, okay, I can do the right thing. Oh, his brother. Okay, I'm sorry, his brother. So those are things that we got to do. And as coaches and parents and mentors, we got to do those things too. We got to reach out to our community and gain those kids. And there's some kids in the community that had tough upbringings that could be these young men too. So my other thing would be encouraged never to give up on any young man, no matter what his circumstances may start off to be. It depends on what you finish. I always have a quote, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And these young men have showed what it takes when you do the right thing to finish. Thank you.
All right, so who's celebrating? So, gentlemen, you want to take some pictures first, or you want to eat first? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Okay, so you can take some pictures. Everybody, come on, stand up with your trophies. I shouldn't say little, because they real. It's like we here, but this wasn't cheap stuff now. So this will last till you're old as me, maybe. All right, so you can get them pictures. Your photo opportunity. Get one with me, and the rest of them I'll get out the way. I gotta go pick my mama from the airport. She flew out from Seattle. Can I move?
No.
Can't stand it long now. Come on. Kill him.
Not looking at it.
Says not the equipment, it's the operator.
It is the operator. Okay, look, one more smile. Ready and that's good. Thank you.
Anybody else want to take pictures with them before they start? Then we can start eating. And you noticed, you saw the cake that has their face on it too, right? Everybody saw the cake with the picture, but let's see the cake when they cut it.
I'll keep that full.
I will be less valuable next week. I have less to do.
Oh, I know, I do.
Big Bob, that's
Where's it coming from? You don't understand. But the second that you never worked I'm like, I would never have him with me because he's another guy. Like, they trained, he got better than there, but he's another guy.